In the great belt of deserts that stretches from the Atlantic shore of North Africa to the river valleys of the Persian Gulf, there grows a tree that has fed humanity for longer than written memory. The date palm rises where almost nothing else will, its crown of fronds catching a sun that scorches the sand below. For more than 5,000 years, this single species has stood between people and starvation, turning barren ground into the cradle of cities. To understand the desert is to understand the date palm, and to understand the date palm is to understand the rise of civilization itself. Botanists trace its wild ancestors to the lands around the Persian Gulf and the valleys of Mesopotamia. Somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 years ago, the peoples of these regions began to tend the palm deliberately, selecting the sweetest fruit and planting the seeds that gave it. Carvings from ancient Sumer and Babylon show the tree in worship and in harvest, and clay tablets record its fruit as a staple of trade. The Egyptians wove its leaves into baskets and its fibers into rope. The Babylonians counted, by some old reckoning, more than 300 uses for a single tree. The palm was not merely food. It was shelter, currency, and sacred symbol all at once. To grow a date palm is to practice patience. The tree is what botanists call dioecious, meaning that each plant is either male or female, and only the female bears fruit. In the wild, the wind carries pollen across the groves, but farmers learned long ago to do the work themselves, climbing the trunks to dust the flowers by hand. This act of artificial pollination is among the oldest deliberate agricultural techniques known to us, practiced in the same way for thousands of years. A young palm may take 4 or 5 years before it fruits, and longer still before it yields in abundance. A single mature tree can produce more than 100 pounds of dates in a season, hanging in heavy golden clusters beneath the crown. The harvest comes in the late summer and autumn heat. Workers ascend the tall trunks, some reaching 60 or 70 feet, to cut the bunches free and lower them carefully to the ground. The fruit is sorted, dried, and pressed, and in this concentrated form it keeps for months without spoiling. That keeping quality made the date a perfect food for travel. Caravans crossing the Sahara and the Arabian sands carried dates as their fuel, a dense and lasting source of sugar that could sustain a journey of many weeks. Where the palm grew, water was near, and so the groves became the anchors of the oases. Around them rose markets, mosques, and walled towns. Beneath the shade of the tall palms, farmers grew a second layer of crops, fruit trees and grain and vegetables sheltered from the killing sun. This layered garden, the oasis, was an engine of life in a sea of stone. The trade routes of the ancient and medieval world threaded from oasis to oasis, and the wealth that moved along them, gold and salt and silk, flowed through the shade of the date palm. Empires were provisioned by it. Religions honored it. The fruit appears in the scriptures of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam alike, a recurring emblem of paradise and plenty. Today, the date palm remains a crop of enormous reach. The world harvests more than 9 million tons of dates each year, with Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Algeria among the leading producers. Modern groves stretch across irrigated desert, and selected varieties such as the medjool and the deglet nor travel to markets on every continent. Yet the tree faces new trials. A disease called buyout has destroyed countless palms across North Africa, and pests and shrinking water tables threaten ancient groves. Scientists now preserve rare varieties and breed for resistance, racing to protect a heritage that took millennia to build. Still, the palm endures, as it has through the rise and fall of every kingdom that ever sheltered beneath it. It asks little and gives much, drawing sweetness from the harshest ground on earth. In the long story of how humanity learned to live where life seems impossible, the date palm wrote the first and most enduring chapter.